The U.S. stock market is in turmoil. On March 15, 2025, the Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted by a staggering 850 points. This represents a significant drop, sending shockwaves through Wall Street and beyond. The tech-heavy Nasdaq experienced a decline of 3.1%, while the broader S&P 500 fell by 2.3%. These numbers paint a bleak picture of investor confidence in the current economic climate. This downturn is not an isolated incident. It represents a continuation of the market volatility that has plagued the U.S. economy for years. The recent plunge is particularly concerning because it follows a series of troubling economic indicators. These indicators suggest that the U.S. may be headed towards a recession. The causes of this market decline are complex and multifaceted. However, many analysts and economists point to one factor in particular: the trade policies of former President Donald Trump. Trump's tariffs, particularly those imposed on goods imported from China, have disrupted global supply chains and increased costs for businesses and consumers alike. This uncertainty and instability have taken a toll on investor confidence, leading to the dramatic sell-offs we are now witnessing. The question remains, how long will this market turmoil last, and what will it take to restore stability to the U.S. economy? As the stock market plunged, all eyes were on former President Trump. His reaction? A seemingly tone-deaf move: the purchase of a Tesla. This action, while not directly related to the market downturn, struck many as oddly timed and out of touch with the anxieties gripping the nation. Trump, never one to shy away from self-promotion, defended his economic policies amidst the chaos. He continues to tout his tariffs as a tax cut, a claim that has been widely debunked by economists. His insistence on this narrative, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, highlights the disconnect between his rhetoric and economic reality. Furthermore, Trump dismisses concerns about the market turmoil as mere transition pains. This dismissive attitude towards the very real economic anxieties of Americans reveals a troubling lack of empathy and understanding. While the full impact of the current market instability remains to be seen, one thing is clear: Trump's response has done little to calm the nerves of investors or everyday Americans. Trump's trade policies, particularly his tariffs on Chinese goods, have been a subject of intense debate and criticism. While the former president insists that these tariffs are a tool to protect American jobs and businesses, the reality is far more nuanced. In fact, a growing body of evidence suggests that these tariffs are actually harming the very people they were intended to help. The American Enterprise Institute, a conservative think tank, estimates that 98% of the tariffs imposed on Chinese goods are being borne by U.S. businesses and consumers. This means that American companies are paying more for raw materials and finished goods, while American families are facing higher prices for everyday items. These increased costs are reflected in the rising inflation rates plaguing the country. Import prices have skyrocketed by 177%, while core inflation has surged to 5.2% year over year. These figures represent a significant erosion of purchasing power for American families, who are now forced to stretch their budgets even further. The chorus of criticism against Trump's economic policies has grown increasingly louder, even emanating from sources once considered staunch allies. Fox News, a network long known for its sympathetic coverage of the former president, has begun to openly question the wisdom of his trade war. Commentators and reporters on Fox News, once hesitant to challenge Trump's economic pronouncements, are now openly criticizing his tariffs, citing their role in the current market chaos and the looming threat of recession. This shift in tone from a network that was once a reliable mouthpiece for the Trump administration speaks volumes about the growing unease surrounding the former president's economic legacy. Even within conservative circles, there is a growing recognition that Trump's trade policies have backfired, harming the very people they were intended to help. The fact that Fox News, a network not known for its criticism of Republican presidents, is now openly questioning Trump's economic stewardship is a testament to the severity of the situation. The recent stock market plunge is just one of many warning signs flashing red in the U.S. economy. A confluence of factors, including persistent inflation, rising interest rates, and dwindling consumer confidence, has economists increasingly concerned about the possibility of a recession. The Federal Reserve, tasked with maintaining price stability and maximizing employment, now estimates a 65% chance of a recession hitting the U.S. economy in 2025. This grim prediction is further bolstered by other alarming economic data points. Unemployment, while historically low, has ticked up to 4.6%, indicating a potential softening in the labor market. Consumer confidence, a key driver of economic activity, has plummeted to an 18-month low, reflecting widespread anxiety about the future. This lack of confidence is causing consumers to tighten their belts, which could further dampen economic growth. Taken together, these indicators paint a worrisome picture of an economy teetering on the brink of recession. The current economic woes facing the United States cannot be viewed in isolation. They are, in many ways, a direct consequence of the economic policies pursued during the Trump administration. While the former president frequently boasts about his economic achievements, the data tells a different story. Trump's signature economic achievement, the 2017 tax cuts, primarily benefited corporations and wealthy individuals, while doing little to boost wages or create jobs for working Americans. In fact, manufacturing jobs, a key focus of Trump's economic agenda, actually declined by 240,000 during his presidency. Moreover, the tax cuts, coupled with increased government spending, led to a ballooning of the national debt, which now stands at a staggering $3.1 trillion. This mountain of debt will have long-term consequences for the U.S. economy, limiting the government's ability to invest in essential services and infrastructure. The recent market turmoil has sent shockwaves through various sectors of the U.S. economy, with some of the nation's most prominent companies experiencing significant losses. The tech sector, which had long been a darling of Wall Street, has been particularly hard hit. Apple, once the world's most valuable company, has seen its stock price plummet by 6.3%, wiping out a staggering $160 billion in market capitalization. Other tech giants like Nvidia and Tesla have also suffered significant losses, with their stock prices tumbling by 7.8% and 9.2% respectively. These declines reflect growing investor concerns about the impact of inflation, rising interest rates, and a potential recession on consumer spending, which could dampen demand for tech products and services. The retail sector has also been caught in the crosshairs of the market downturn. Walmart, the nation's largest retailer, has seen its stock price plunge by 12%, as investors worry about the impact of inflation on consumer spending and the company's profit margins. Amazon, the e-commerce behemoth, has also faced headwinds, with its stock price falling by 9.9%. These declines highlight the interconnectedness of the global economy and the far-reaching consequences of economic uncertainty. When investor confidence wanes, it can have a ripple effect across various sectors, impacting businesses of all sizes and the livelihoods of millions of Americans. For years, Trump has presented a distorted view of the U.S. economy, claiming credit for a booming stock market and low unemployment rates. However, the recent market turmoil has exposed the fragility of this facade, revealing an economy grappling with deep-seated problems that were masked by years of unsustainable growth fueled by tax cuts and low interest rates. The truth is that Trump's economic policies have primarily benefited the wealthy and corporations, while doing little to address the underlying issues plaguing the U.S. economy, such as income inequality, stagnant wages, and a shrinking middle class. The current market downturn is a stark reminder that trickle-down economics is a failed experiment, and that sustainable economic growth requires policies that benefit all Americans, not just those at the very top. It is time for a reality check, a moment to acknowledge that the emperor has no clothes. The U.S. economy is not as strong as Trump would have us believe, and the consequences of his misguided policies will continue to be felt for years to come. The recent turmoil in the U.S. stock market is not merely an abstract financial concern. It represents a very real threat to the economic well-being of millions of Americans. The chaos sown by Trump's erratic trade policies, his disregard for expert advice, and his relentless pursuit of self-interest over national interest has created an environment of uncertainty and instability that is now jeopardizing the livelihoods of hardworking Americans. From farmers struggling to sell their crops to factory workers facing layoffs, The true cost of Trump's economic policies is being measured in lost jobs, shuttered businesses, and shattered dreams. The market may rebound, but the scars of this period of economic turmoil will linger, a stark reminder of the dangers of prioritizing ideology over sound economic policy.